In the beginning, I believe na the Lord called me to be the Genesis, yung the beginning. And then, my brother joined me also. He heard, parang it's an impression na, look around you, sabi dito daw sa ating community. Sabi niya, people, they are dead. Mag-start daw ng Bible study.
Siguro mga isang taon na noon na ang church nung una ako maka-attend dito at dinadnak ko sila doon sa garahe nila Sister Grace, Pastor June, old house. At punong-puno noon ang garahe. Masaya. Mga 90% ng uma-attend noon lagi ay mga kabataan. So you can just imagine yung dynamics sa sa praise and worship. Talagang kung hindi ka papawisan noon para kang hindi nag-worship.
Meeting with Michael Freedom, I believe, was the beginning ng move ng God para ma-establish ang church ng called out. And so Michael Freedom start coming and attending talagang faithfully. And then Brother Freedom bring in brother si Dennis Tig, saka si Bickerstaff, and so on.
Siya ay nagturo sa atin. Nag-establish siya ng night Bible school sa loob ng isa't kalahating taon. After that, ay nagkaroon ng graduation at pagkatapos ay prophetic presbytery. Tuwa kami noon na nakatanggap kami ng mga prophetic words for the first time. Early years na yun ay naging foundation years ng church. And then, of course, nagkaroon tayo ng school noon, kaya nagkakatulungan yung pagtuturo ng Word of God sa Sunday sa mga cell groups. At ganoon din dito sa school natin, na kung saan ay in-emphasize talaga ang Word of God along with academics.
I first came to MZCF May of 1985. Brother Mike Freedom asked my pastor in Baguio if they can ask for me to be transferred dito sa MCLC pa noon dahil kailangan nila ng principal sa Called Out Christian Academy. So when I came over, there was already a Called Out Christian Academy na ang school ay dito actually sa bahay ko. Andito dati yung school. When I was principal naman sa school, na-enjoy ko dahil it was an opportunity to be able to train children in the ways of the Lord. At nakakatuwa to see how the Lord has raised up the children then to be leaders today.
Planted the first church in Sinaloa, Laguna. Dumating ang panahon na pumutok ang Pinatubo, meron tayo sa Pampanga. Unti-unti merong mga nagpa-adapt sa atin ng mga churches, sa Nabotas. Tapos from then on, unti-unti na ay parang namulat na tayo na bahagi na ng buhay natin yung magsimula ng isang iglesia.
Another aspect, of course, that I saw here was how the Lord has caused the development ng vision sa MCLC. Dito sa MCLC, na-establish ang IFP as a national prayer movement. And it all started when we hosted what we used to call Watchmen on Guard seminars. Nangusap ang Lord sa atin that He's giving the nation into the hands of the intercessors. So, the leadership of this church then, yung mga elders, ganun din yung mga missionaries, ay nakita nila that we should include intercession in the Called Out Bible College. So, another ministry that was also birthed at that time was the elders of the city. Nakita natin na parang nagkaroon ng opening para ang MCLC ay makilala on a more national level. And then, dumaan ang MCLC sa time ng wilderness, dryness sa worship, dryness sa pag-preach ng word, dry na sa maraming mga bagay, the Lord, by His grace, enabled us to be able to continue to stay here and to see to it na dapat maayos kung ano man ang mga bagay na kailangang ayusin sa time ng wilderness. Later on, syempre, nung natutunan na natin yung journey of Israel, lahat pala tayo dadaan doon. So as a church, we went through that. But then after that, nagkaroon naman tayo ng time of restoration. At sa time ng restoration, nagkaroon tayo ng panibagong set of eldership na yung mga naging elders ay dating mga young people noon. So, kumbaga, second generation of eldership na homegrown.
Ang greatest turning point sa tingin ko ay nung lalo pa nating maunawaan yung higher calling ng Lord sa atin. Tinutukoy ko dito yung vision of Zion, na kung saan nakita ko na noong namang araw ay naituturo na rin, ngunit lalo pang lumiwanag sa atin.
Nagkaroon ng understanding ng progressive vision. Kaya una, nung founding nito is called Out Fellowship, naging Mandaluyong Christian Life Center kasi na-realize na we're not just called out, but we are supposed to be a community of believers. So later, nabago na naman sa Majestic Christ Living Church kasi ang ating tinatanyag ay ang Majestic Christ. Tapos, nag-progress na naman yung vision natin, kaya naging Mount Zion Church of the Firstborn. From the beginning, ang vision natin ay moving on to maturity, pero lalo nating naintindihan na yung moving on to maturity ay hindi lamang moving into into the promised land, kundi moving into the vision of Zion.
2003, na alala ko noon, buhay pa si Pastor Jerry, ay nagkaroon kami na desisyon kasama si Pastor George nung kami nasa Singapore na tayo ay hayagang humingi ng affiliation sa Zion Fellowship. Pinamuna ni late Pastor Brian Levy.
Today, it has reached, it's moving into reaching its mission and vision to be a victorious bride of Christ. I'm very, very thankful that I belong to Mount Zion. And together we will be in Zion, up there in heaven.
And I will establish this house, yea, I will build here a pattern church. I will raise up ministry in this place. There will be scripturally qualified elders and deacons, and there will be anointed musicians. There shall arise apostles and prophets and evangelists, and pastors and teachers shall be ordained and trained. I will continue to cause the love of my word to grow, and I will cause thee to be a fountain that bursts forth and bubbles forth, giving to those around thee the love of the Lord thy God, the joy of the Lord, and his peace. And there shall be a literature, and there shall be a mighty saturation of the word of the Lord that will spread across these islands, and there shall be hungry pastors that will come from the villages and barrios and will say, send us teachers, send us musicians, send us ministry. I believe that God will establish a powerful training center here in Manila that will affect much of Asia. And God's going to bring in tremendous ministry here that will contribute and impart more and more and more. And then there will be raised up, as the prophetic word said, apostles and prophets and evangelists and pastors and teachers that will go everywhere, and it will be rapid work. And I will cause the teachers that shall be raised up within this place to come before me, and I will give them fresh word, for I have called this place to be that of a training center. I I will establish the foundation of Zion. And I am going to cause a unique expansion of ministry, not based upon the ways and traditions of music of this world, but I am going to cause the musicians to come before me in prayer and humility, and I am going to speak to them out of my word and create within them a created music through choirs, through quartets, through different ensembles, instruments that might go into the community and begin to play and sing for the glory of God. I am going to bring purity of my word through songs and through instruments. Through the prayer, through the travailing of intercession, and through worship, the strong praises, the high praises of God in your mouth, and the two-edged sword in your hand, thou shalt continue to march forward as the army of God to conquer and to conquer. I am placing within the heart a love for the people of Mandaluyong, a love for the people of the Philippines. For I will cause thee to go into the streets of this city, and you will see places, you will see homes, you will see streets that will become areas of ministry. Because remember, I have called this church to reach to the nation of the Philippines and beyond. Your fruit shall multiply greatly. Stretch out your outreaches and evangelistic ministries and prepare for increase in the church. Stretch out your cell groups that daughter churches may be birthed. Reach out to many churches, for you will cause many desolate places and struggling churches to become fruitful as you become a pattern church and a strength to many. I will develop you to become pattern in giving, and there shall be a spirit of giving, and you will divide these finances, and you will minister to the needs of the people through medicines, through food, through clothing, and you will see that your sisters and brothers are being fed. You will see that your sisters and brothers are being taken care of. This house shall be known for a giving heart. It shall be giving, which is of a sacrificial giving, a ministry of giving, showers of mercy, showers of compassion, and then I will send you forth and will look beyond the four walls of this house, and you will see the need of the community, and you will see the needs of the nation. I will give thee a heart for those of foreign lands, but I would cause thee to develop within thine own needs the heart for one another, for this must be the precedent. So shall the ministry of the Lord go forth out of this house into every area. There shall be the hub, there shall be the core. I would cause thine eyes and thy vision to be lifted, to see not just Mandaluyong, not just Metro Manila, not just Luzon, not just the Philippines, but I would have thee to see that thy God is concerned with the whole world. For thy God would have even in times in the future to move upon individuals to be sent to this nation and to that nation as you are yielded to me. So this church will be a church where people will be able to fulfill what the Lord told them to bring into completion. So be blessed to go on. Don't give up, but go on. Press on, intercede, pray through, and you will see that the visions will be fulfilled.